Charizard, the most popular Pokemon that is not named Pikachu. From the anime to the games, this Pokemon swiftly found its way into the hearts of the young fanbase through the sheer awesomeness of being a freaking fire-breathing dragon. Like or hate Ash's disobedient partner, you have to admit Charizard never fails to deliver when it comes to the swag, and remains one of the most known Pokemon to this day, though Game Freak admittedly gave him a lot of love over the years. But today, we shall unveil the truth, replace the nostalgia glasses with the magnifying lenses of objectivity, and ask, was Gen 1 Charizard truly deserving of the hype when it comes to in-game performance? Or was it nothing more than a Machiavellian fraud who managed to trick a whole generation of kids with his fire-breathing charlatanism? Let's find out. One of the first things you might notice when considering Charmander as the starter choice in Red and Blue is that it is dramatically worse than the other two starters facing Brock. And if your memory is even sharper, know that all other Pokemon you get at this point are hard-walled by rock types. I mean, except for Butterfree, who solos the gym with confusion. And while all of this is true, what if I told you that Charmander can not only be decent against Brock, but can actually solo him? Here's how. If you level up Charmander to Onix's level, which is level 14, and you give it a bit of additional experience, a viable strategy is to storm through Geodude with Ember, thanks to its pitiful special stat and to the fact it will spam defense curl anyway. If you have enough EXP, you will level up off of Geodude and have a level 15 Charmander against Onix, and that is important because most Charmanders at this level can outspeed Onix, damage it with Ember, and waste turns with Growl if it uses Bide. The odds should, overall, be massively in your favor. I've tried many times and managed to solo it on every single attempt. I mean, if you're unsure, a bit of help from your partners will make the day. Now, this doesn't remove the fact that both other starters are massively better than Charmander, but hey, a cool trick you can impress people with, hopefully. Once you're done spending an unreasonable amount of time justifying your Charmander pick for Brock, the next section of the game should be relatively straightforward. Even hikers and their rock types will fall to Charmeleon's embers at this point. Charmeleon will be mildly useful in every fight, including the second rival fight, but then comes Misty, and here some of the more intellectual viewers might notice this matchup would not be favorable for Charmeleon. And those intellectual viewers might ask, Pokerebels, do you have another awesome party trick that can help us beat Misty with Charmeleon? Well, I'm glad you asked, because no, of course not. Charmeleon, even when taught a TM such as Mega Punch or Dig, will at best 1v1 star you, though taking a lot of damage in the process. And Starmie, Charmeleon gets smashed every single time. Let's hope our fire-breathing friend scores better in the next segments of the game, cause this ain't it. The next important fight of the game is the third rival fight, and in that fight, as well as more or less every subsequent rival fight, Charmeleon just helps a bit. It's nothing fantastic. The next important fight after that is Lieutenant Surge. Charmeleon can actually be pretty good against Surge, that is if you teach it TM Dig, and while you cannot solo the fight with it every single time, it will at least kill both unevolved Pokemon by using Dig, and may be able to solo the entire fight if you get lucky enough. Moving on to Celadon, Charmeleon will remain more or less the same until it learns Slash at 33, which is an important plus for it. In Gen 1, any Pokemon with above 25 base speed uses a high crit rated move will have a 100% chance to crit, which gives Charmeleon an effective 140 base power normal move, which is, to say the least, pretty useful. But speaking of moves, it's time to address the Dawn fan in the room. The only fire move you have access to by this point is freaking Ember. The Charizard line stats are decent all around, but the lack of stab starts to really get felt from this point on. Charmeleon fails to profit from the type favorable matchup against Erica, and might even be beat 1v1 by Victory Bell if one chooses to lead it into the Grass Gem. That problem persists until level 40 freaking 6. This is really a shame, since Flamethrower would have made Charizard a very consistent Koga team sweeper, thanks to the power of Flamethrower coming off of Charizard's special stat, but instead, you will have to rely on Slash, which will barely kill the weaker Pokemon on Koga due to their great physical bulk. Slash on Charizard will however be useful against 6 Gym Leader Sabrina, by perhaps sweeping her if he gets lucky enough with the AI, but at that point, Charizard will not have made a contribution on any gym more consistent than what it does as Charmander on Brock, which, ironically, is a gym it's supposed to be weak to. Now with 7th Gym Leader Blaine, Charizard will, again, be pretty good, but needs more luck to sweep the fight on his own, even with the advantage of the powerful Slash. And then you have 8th Gym Leader Giovanni. Charizard will finally have access to Flamethrower on a team that does not resist it for the most part, and will therefore prove very decent by beating all of his Pokemon if you pair it with a Doug Trio. Now of course, you could have just picked Blastoise and beat everything including the Mole Trio, but hey, I mean, at least Charizard is helping. And now we move to the Elite Four. Charizard will actually prove good against Bruno, courtesy of the Fighting Resist, and against Agatha if you teach it TM Dig, and can be an easy way of dealing with Lorelei's Jinx, as well as beating the Grass type, the Rhydon, and maybe the Alakazam on the Champ. Long story short, while there are a lot of Pokemon that can do much more, you can definitely justify him fighting the Elite Four. Note that in Yellow version, Charizard stays overall the same as in Red and Blue. You just get it a bit later, and it has a far better matchup against Koga, and a worse Giovanni thanks to improved movesets. So did Charizard perform in Gen 1? Well, not really. It is not very good anywhere, and it's oftentimes more cumbersome to justify it than it's actually helping. Or, if you prefer, a full freaking fiery fraud. It's true. But what do you think about Gen 1 Charizard? Do you think it's still worth using despite its flaws through sheer fire type coolness? Would you wish it was improved in some way? Or do you think it really is overrated? Feel free to tell us in the comments, and also don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel for more great videos. On that note, thank you so much for watching. This is PokeRebels. See y'all next time.